Okay, yeah, what's it? Well, we won't load. That's okay. I can drop it down as soon as we do the thing. Yeah, that's okay. This, well, might as well do it now, yeah? Drop this down because that should put it at least in the center. And then we can just zoom it in a little bit. Cool, I'm ready. I'm ready. Are you guys ready out there? Hey guys. What's up? Yeah, that club horn, like the boom 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 boom. Say what? Uh. This is why I'm a painter. Oh, I meant to plug my phone in. There's no way this cord does not get paint on it. There we go. And what if I actually stand with my palette in hand like this? Oh, I have 0 colors. I am so not ready. Isn't that the best opening ever? Okay, so we might as well just get started with this. Welcome in, everybody. It's Paint with Josh back in the studio with you today. Just not ready at all, but it's fine. We're going to take our 16 by 20 black canvas, right? So 16 tall by 20 wide. And we're covering it with our BobRoss liquid clear. As you can see, it's not black paint. Otherwise, the bristles would be black, right? So this is a clear base oil blending medium that makes our canvas wet and allows all of our thicker colors that we're going to use straight out of the tube to slide across this wet surface. It's kind of like greasing up your pan before you go do some cooking out there. All right, by the way, what did you have for dinner tonight? Tell me in the comments below. What did you have for the final, well, the third breakfast of the day? What did you have? Pip has second breakfast. We have third breakfast. It's called dinner. Now, you guys let me know as I spread out this liquid clear. And then we're going to grab some paper towel and wipe off the excess clear. Because if you put on too much, it is not helpful. It is not helpful at all. So we're going to be doing a different version of our Golden Shores, quote unquote, which is going to be Indian yellow that we're going to need. We're going to need our yellow ochre, or raw sienna works as well if it's very yellowy. Make sure it's the yellowy, not the brown one. Oh, let's see. Maybe a little bit of our blue, black, crimson, maybe some, probably some of our purple, and maybe our, madder carmine from the Meaden brand. It's going to be amazing. So you guys let me know where you're watching from out there. You had McDonald's for dinner, tomato soup, pizza. What kind of pizza? Pizza is a very wide, thing. Like, what did you, what did you eat? Somebody said they had poutine over there. That is it sounds funny, but it is a gravy. It's a Canadian gravy, I believe. And should be fantastic. I've never had it myself. I'm not really one for trying a lot of new things, but yeah, I like it though. So we've got our 16 by 20 black canvas. I'm going to grab a little bit of our India yellow from the Gamblin 1980 set. I think we're completely out of purple, you guys, actually. Like, for real. We're actually going to get some of this gold from the Master's Touch as well. That guy. I don't think we got enough of that. So let's get our madder carmine. We'll get our crimson. And I guess we're going to have to work with the purple that we have. I need to get some more. No, you know what? I do have one. I remember, because I was running low on the Gamblin one. It was getting very hard to get out of the tube. And so I got a Winsor & Newton tube, which must be in here somewhere. So just give me 2 more seconds. I'm going to find that color. Just real quick. Oh, I found it. See? Didn't even take me too long. So you guys check in. Tell me where you're watching from out there. And I should have done this, but I didn't. I apologize. We don't need really too much of anything. When we're painting on black canvas, we really want to retain the black canvas and not cover up everything, right? If we do tend to cover everything, then our canvas will get too bright in color, and we don't want that. So let's grab the last little bit go. And our Matter Carmine color. And the reason that I use this Meaden brand Matter Carmine, which is it's their crimson, basically. I used to call it crimson. Now they don't call it crimson anymore. They call it Matter Carmine. M-A-D-D-E-R. Like, could you be any more madder? And then Carmine, spelled exactly how you would imagine it would be spelled. And it's a really cool color, and it spreads very easily across our canvas and gives us some really cool tones out there. Okay, so let's take our India yellow. We're going to get a little bit of that, and by a little, I mean a lot, onto the brush. Everyone's version of a little is different, right? But there's almost a couple globs on the brush out there. That's how Josh makes his so vibrantly bright, right? How does Josh's paintings always come out so bright? And when I do it, it's not as, it's vibrant, you know what I mean? Like well, we're putting on a lot of undercolor, you know what I mean? But we're spreading it out as well. We're not just putting it on there and keeping it there forever or letting it sit on there in globs. We're really pushing on it and letting it spread. And you can feel the difference in an area that has heavy paint and an area that has no paint, right? You can literally feel it. So it depends on how much paint you put on there, right? We're going to match it along the bottom as well. And this guy, we're going to push into the distance, okay? So, meaning I want to have more shiny golden sand, less water, right? The water in this scene, unlike the other golden shores, it was a bit closer. But this one, we're going to push it way out there, right? So I want to paint all of the goldeny sand right now, right? Like this is what I want. All this shiny gold in my sand. It's going to be amazing, okay? Literally. Don't want it to go down all the way. We're going to take some of our either brown or some of our purple and kind of slide it up from the bottom. We really only need, I mean, even if you had the India yellow out there, right? And it was just a flat triangle, boom. Seriously, because we're not even going to put a lot of paint out there. So it's going to stay very dark colored, right? So we got our, sort of our triangle, right? Almost all the way over to the edge over here. And then we're going to go less and less and less and less to make it angle down that way, right? We're not pulling at an angle this way to put the paint in. We're pulling longer and then shorter, 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 shorter as we go, which would make this little angle, right? Now, we don't just want the yellow out there. We want to use some of that Matter Carmine or the crimson color that you have, right? See how vibrant that stuff is? And then we really got to spread it. And I mix it in with that yellow, right? So there's not patches or stripes of color. I want them to blend in between themselves. Right? And make an orange. That's what we're trying to go for. We don't want a patch of red and a patch of yellow. We want to blend them together, leaving some yellowy area and then letting it get kind of darker orange, right? A little bit more of our crimson stuff up into the corners. Yeah! This one's going to look really cool. And then we're going to go into our dioxazine purple, just right onto the brush, right? Right out here, let the purple drag into the yellow. It's going to change the color. And it's be really cool. Oh, it's neat. Same thing down here on the bottom, right? We don't use brown in this scene. We use purple, and we let it mix in with that yellow. Because the more that the purple and the yellow mix together, right, as we get higher up here, there's less purple on the brush. It's intermixing more with the yellow, so it's blending into this cool brownish color. It's going to be really neat. Then we're going to throw in our big, massive trees, right? Plus, we're going to have a little landmass out there. So we don't really have to go all the way down to our horizon. If you did grab that purpley color or the crimsony color or whatever color, right? Even with that brownish color coming back up into your sky, it's all going to blend into this really cool sunset, right? That's what we're going for out here. I'm liking it already. So let's see. Can you use the liquid white or liquid black on a canvas before using acrylics? I'd really like to know. So the liquid white and the liquid black, first, never use the liquid black. Okay, that's awful stuff. Liquid white is an oil blending medium, and acrylics are acrylic, right? They're not going to mix. It's going to be like mixing oil and water, right? They stay separated. If you want to make a white canvas black, so that you can do an acrylic painting on a black canvas, okay, you're going to want to use this stuff, which is an acrylic-based paint called Black Gesso from a company called Liquitex. So I call it Liquitex Black Gesso, right? Different from the BobRoss Liquid Black. Black Gesso is an acrylic paint, and the Liquid Black is an oil paint. Same with the Liquid Clear and the Liquid White. They're all oil paints. and the acrylic base black paint is different, right? So get that acrylic gesso if you want to turn your white canvas black. Now, we're going to come in here, and I need to wash off this big old brush because it is very dark and that cool brown color. That's what makes our sand so neat looking, right? So remember, you can grab this painting plus many, many other paintings that we have available in stock, ready to ship out right now, right? But if you grab this one specifically, the only painting in my store that does not have a photo attached to it, it looks very much like just a regular thumbnail with me inside this gold ornate frame. That's going to be this painting, right? So if you want to get this one as we're going on, then head over to PaintWithJosh.com and you can grab this painting right here live during the show before it's even finished. That's the fun part, right? And then you can tell me what to name it by the time we get done. Now, finish washing off this brush, and we're going to get over here and get our liquid white, okay? Now, you might want to use a 1-inch brush, or you might just want to grab a little bit of that liquid white because we're going to aim for that yellow section with a very small amount of liquid white. And because we have the color, oh my goodness, already there, right? The colors are on the black canvas. Everything is still wet. And now we're adding another base paint to a canvas that already has the base layer and the colors, right? So you don't need a lot. And this paint will grow, right? And it's going to want to extend and get darker, right? And then once you're out here into the darkness, you don't want to go back to that bright spot. Look at all these colors igniting in the night just because they were there, right? They were already there. They were chilling. They're like, hey, we're here. Just ignite us with that white paint. We're just waiting, right? That's so cool. Let's pop a sun into that little guy, or a moon, or whatever, right? Just a little circular shaped little planet out there. And this is going to be absolutely stellar. Okay. So we're going to take our filbert brush, which is that brush that looks very much like your fingertip, except I don't want to use one that's so big. Where's my smaller one over here, guys? Have you guys been on my tape? Have you been in my painting table and messing around with where I put my brushes? Have you? Because where is that small little guy? I know I have one. All right, now, there we go. See? Somewhere that it was not, it's like a Woody and Buzz over here. They get up and walk around, and I must have come into the studio before it got back to its normal place. So we're going to take our small little filbert brush, which is again like the tip of your finger. We're going to place it right smack in the middle, boom, of that bright area. And then bend the bristles so that they're very flat, like it's giving it a high five. Right? Then we're going to try to stay out of the way and also spin into a circle. If they're flat, right, and flared out, and you spin the brush without moving from the center, even just one time, you make this gorgeous little, Is that a sun or is it a moon in your opinion, guys? Just answer my question. Is it the sun or is it the moon? Golly, if that one's not fantastic already, just call it done like that. I wish. Okay, I'm going to put that filbert brush back where it's supposed to go. And if it moves again, then I'll know literally that it's alive. Okay, now we're going to come in with a bigger fan brush. Okay, I like using a larger fan brush because it's a little bit more wild and crazy, right? We can drop off the paint a little bit more random pattern. Now, if you notice, or if you've ever looked closely at the brush, when we do a black canvas, it's so much less paint on the brush because the paint's going to grow and extend. Do you remember how small that little space was? And then we expanded it into this giant thing, right? So if you use too much, it will grow too much, right? What if we came out here like this? Oof. Oh, I like it. Look at this. Yeah. Oh, look at those colors. Just igniting. My goodness. Okay. Now that we have the white paint up there, remember, everything underneath is still wet. So if we push hard enough, we could almost blend that white all the way away. Or we could take it and let it grow down here by just pushing harder and harder and harder as we get further away from the edge. Right? We're very light up here, but if I want it to grow, just push it harder, right? You see all those little bits, right? Because we pushed them harder. We made the paint grow further with more pressure, right? So you decide how you want yours to look, right? How far does it go to the edge? How dull are you making it, right? Because the more that you're mixing it and pushing on it, the more dull it's getting. It's becoming less bright, right? So you're deciding what's happening, where the bright spaces are, right? And we're trying not to make everything all the same. That's it, right? That area right there was just too flat for me. I was like, you know what? Let's make it weird looking because that's more fun, right? So all up to you guys, literally. You want a couple little, like that, like a little, that's a literal happy accident, right? We could leave it like that and call it a cloud. Seriously, I could accentuate it. I can make it a little bit bigger. And you might think it's a further away little puff, right? Seriously, I'm leaving it. I'm not changing it. We're leaving it just like that because it happens out there, right? You get little whiffs or little splotches. Sometimes I call it like Mother Nature's like little happy accident or little mistake because they'll just be like a perfect sky and then all of a sudden like one little, it almost looks like an errant brush mark in the sky, and that's the cloud. And you're like, okay, that's what you went with? You had all the power in the universe to create the most beautiful sunset or the most beautiful sky, and you went with one little like, and that was it. You guys have seen it. You've seen skies like that, right? I physically can't be the only person in existence that's seen a sky like that, right? So lots of people think it's a moon. Lots of people think it's a sun, right? You never know what it's going to be. That's the cool part about art, really, is that it's not up to me, right? It's up to you. You're looking at it. You're watching it. Is that a sun to you or is it a moon, right? Depends on who's looking at it. Depends on how much light is in the canvas, right? We're giving the viewer or the person that's looking at our painting the beginning of an idea, right? And then their mind decides whether they like it or not, whether it looks right to them or not. We're going to take a very small amount of our titanium white. I'm going to come, I don't want to be way back on the horizon, remember, so let's start in here. Start over there, very small clicks together, right? That's what keeps it attached to itself, right? So if we were to do scrapes that were too far apart, right, they don't connect to themselves. It ends up looking weird, and you don't want to look weird out there, right? Now, we do want it to look weird now. Was that stars on Facebook or something? Oh, I thought like a weird sound come through the notifications. We do want to make it look weird back here, right? And we want it to be different. We don't need it to be perfectly filled in. I don't want there to be a perfect bright triangle back there. I want there to be a lip on the front of the water and then to let that foamy stuff kind of fade back. And that's it. That's the whole amount of ocean that we're painting for this painting, right? You can have it get smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes this way, but that's literally it. We want it to look very far away. And you can see just a slight little dip and then slight and then down and then up again, right? That's making it look uneven and more distant and more close in some places. So it's not just a perfect straight line out there. Dude, we could leave it just like that, or we could put in that little mountainous region with all of our trees. But before we do any of those things, you guys get to watch this very cool Paint with Josh commercial. And I'll be right back after these words. Hi, it's Paint with Josh back in the studio. Did you know that along with oil painting classes, we also now do acrylic painting classes? Oh, it's going to be fantastic. You can either come right down here into the studio and I supply all the supplies. You leave with a really cool painting, or we can link up via virtual class and do a video call like Zoom. It's going to be fantastic, and you're going to end up with something like this. All you have to do to book one of these Paint with Josh acrylic classes is either go to the Paint with Josh app or go to the site, find the acrylic class, book your day and your time, and we're going to have a great time. Now, let's get back up to the show and see what we've been doing up there. Oh, let's see what we've been doing. Who's this guy? Why does anyone watch this guy? I have no idea. No idea. In any case, let's put in a little rocky, distant feature, maybe throw some trees on top of it or something to project up into this color, right? You could leave it. Oh man, it looks so cool. What's up? Let's see. Do you sell kits? So yes, I do offer starter kits. If you go over to PaintWithJosh.com or you head to the Paint with Josh the app and search for Landscape Starter Kit or Deluxe Starter Kit. Different prices, come with different amount of brushes, different amount of colors. I have gone over in several videos, the last two especially, that if you wanted to do a limited color scene, it's probably going to cost you about $100. Right? You'll get 5 canvas, and not from me. Like if you were to go out and purchase all this stuff and just try it, right? It may cost you about $100. You get a couple canvases, you get the whole thing of the liquid white and the liquid clear and a few colors to get started, right? If you then like how that came out, then you go get the, you know, full, all the colors. I tend to do lots of paintings where we don't need every color in the book. You know what I mean? This painting literally has yellow, crimson, purple so far, and white. So 4 colors. And we're about to add in our core 3 right here. It's usually the core 4. We are using white, but we're about to add in these 3 just so we can make a dark mix of color. Now, sure, you could go the easy way and probably just put black out there, right? I would never do that, but you probably could, just to have, you know, 2 less colors to use, right? And 2 less to grab. But this painting, I mean, its composition is simple, but you do need a fair amount of colors for it, versus like the black and white landscape that we just did. I have black and white seascapes as well, so if you just like doing ocean art, then you've got an option over there. Right now, this is very dark, okay, but it is not as dark as this black paint right here, because it's got this color on it, and we mixed a little bit of that white down in there. So this guy is going to stand out as being very dark, right? So we're going to start out down here, and even down there I can see it, right? Bang, we have to come down into the water's edge, at least breaking the back horizon a little bit, so it looks like the water goes around that guy and there's more distance, right? All we need is to fill in this section by dragging our fan brush back, trying to stay away from this watery edge. Otherwise, it's going to really brighten up that paint when we don't want it to. We want it to be dark for right now. We're going to go back and highlight it in a minute, but we want it to be dark for right now. What was that? Stars over on Facebook. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate ya. Who did that? Was it Mary? That was the last person there? Excellent. Oh, cool. Excellent. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it. So we're going to get a little bit of this paint. We're going to wiggle down so our brush is nice and sharp. And then we're going to start popping in little things. A little taller up, and a little taller, and a little taller. More stars? Goodness gracious. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you over there on the bookie books. Now, we need enough paint, Josh. I don't think I made up enough for this little forest out here, right? Because these have to be thick enough and dark enough to stand away from all of the light color in the background, right? And contrast against all that brightness. Now, it's not a whole lot of bright, but there is brightness back there. Even way back here, there's a small amount of brightness on our canvas. And so if we have that dark paint and all these dark trees over here, then it's going to give us the effect that something is in front of our faraway cloud and sky and all that. God, this one looks fantastic already. Now, I'm going to take my 2-inch brush and grab some of that paint. And again, try to stay away from this line. If you interact with it, it's okay. We can go back and fix it. But if you don't, it's going to be easier to do, right? Now, we'll come down here. You can even see I grabbed it and it slid even further, just very slightly. We're going to get rid of everything that's under the trees, right? So everything down to here is going to disappear and turn into mist. You can go back and add it afterwards, but we have to soften these trees down and at least put a little bit of mysteriousness at the bottom of them, right? So we're going to swipe up and pull away before we get too far up into the sky. That just makes that paint less textured, right? Flatter, so that we can add something else on top. And my goodness, we are going to add something else on top, let me tell you. So let's get into here. We're going to grab our fan brush that we were using to make our clouds with. I don't even barely want to add like one swipe, literally, because there's some white paint still left in here that's unused, right? Now, this area is not very tall. There's not a lot of space in between the top of my rock and where my water is. So I don't necessarily want to get in here with this big giant brush that close, right? We're going to come again about halfway underneath, bang, right there, stay above the water, get up into the trees. I'm just pushing harder, more pressure to access the rest of the paint in the brush, right? And there's still some that I haven't touched on both sides. Now, the only reason we need this is to make this mountainous thing kind of stand out away from this black side of our canvas, right? Also to give us another layer of bright so that the trees that we're going to put in front of this thing stand out as being closer, right? And all we really do is kind of mix it up a little bit, at least very lightly down here, because again, we don't want to disturb the water, okay? But up in here, this is when you get to smack it, right? And really mush it, because we want it to mix in with that dark paint. We want it to get light. We need it to become faded at the bottom so we can't see what is going on at the base of this rock, tree, whatever, forest deal it is, right? It's also brightened up. the little area in there, giving us the effect that the water or the mist, I almost call it steam, the mist is coming and feeding up into the forest, right? It's going to give us something to contrast off when we put our mega trees in here that are sitting real close, okay? Now, if you've gone and messed up just a little bit too much of your straight line back here, you can always get back and put it in as far as you want it to be. I don't want to get back that far, right? Too far to the side or too far between your horizon and the lip of the water back here, right? It's literally, I've got a tape measure right here. Where's the inch? It's not even an inch. It's it's 3/4 of an inch, right? From the back of the top of the horizon to the front of the lip, 3/4 of an inch. So it's not even 1 inch right here. That's how small it has to be to look far away, right? It's got to be distant, got to be small. If we bring it too close or if the angle is too sharp, right? And you notice this is very flat. It only kind of dips down a little bit over here, right? But it's pretty much flat. It almost actually goes up and then down, right? So this even looks more distant, making this look closer. So it's not a straight line is my goal or my point, I guess, right? So we'll take a little bit of our titanium white, a little bit of our liquid white. It's literally about a half and half mix, pretty much, right? Pretty close. About half and half skis, right? It basically takes the liquid white, which is so wet that it will drip. If you put your blade upside down, it will drip off. But as soon as you mix it in with that liquid white, even if I grabbed the whole thing and sat here for an entire day, it wouldn't fall off and drip, right? So it is wet, it is thin, but it is also kind of held together. Almost like if you were to use like starch or like flour to like thicken something up, you know, like you're making gravy or something. I don't know, I'm not a chef. We're gonna come right underneath our moon, put our first, most and longest streak, okay? Doesn't have to be perfectly straight because we're about to swipe them either which way. And then we're gonna go little streaky poos over here, a little bit more over here. Doesn't have to be perfect. The only thing that we do have to do is keep a separation between the two bits of color, right? Both of them are gonna look very yellowish orange, right? And if we connect them and we can't tell what is what, then we're not gonna be able to tell what is what, right? Oh. More bigger zone or bigger area you make down here, the more shine you're going to have in that spot, right? How far do you want these things to go down? Because you can scrape them down, you can pull them down, you can do whatever you want to do, right? Now, isn't that amazing? No, we're about to change it right here. So, what I wanted to ask you guys just real quickly as we pull straight vertically down is, does this look like wet, sandy beach? What do you see as we pull all these streaks down with a lot of force? And if there's more paint in a certain area, it will be brighter. Imagine that. It will drag further. You can head over there and pick some stuff up and go back and make other areas bright. Right? But answer me in the comments. Does this look like wet, sandy beach? Just yes or no. We get waterfall. We get cliff. It looks like the ice wall. We get glaciers. We get curtains sometimes, right? Lots of different answers. But what if we were to take these verticalities and turn them into horizontalities and swipe back and forth, taking away all the verticalities in here, right? And the more that you swipe on this stuff and it intermixes with the purplish brownish sand that's at the bottom, the more it's going to look like that wet, shiny, saturated area. Isn't that fantastic? So now we're going to go back in to that purplish color, okay? And we're going to cut back all the shininess that we don't want to see just by putting more purple in that area, right? So how far did you want your wet, shiny sand to come down? How far do you want it to, or how close, basically, do you want it to become to you, right? If it is very close to you, that means the water is very close to you as well, right? So how far do you push it back? Creating that same sort of downward angle. We're starting a little higher on the one side, a little lower on the other side, right? How far back does yours go? Seriously, it doesn't have to be huge. I'm showing you right here how to push it backwards just by making your sand darker at the bottom, right? You get to pick, guys, honestly. Oh, isn't that fabulous? My word. Now, we need to close the gap right here, right? Like they're not selling enough sweaters, so we got to go in, we're going to close the gap, right? We're going to come in and just shrink it down by, again, very minute, little small, little watch clicks. That's how I think about it anyway. Just little bits, little connected things. Like we're making such a small back and forth movement that they can't even get disconnected, right? Like they're all stuck together because of how closely we're keeping that blade when we're dropping off that bit of paint. Right? Look at how cool that looks, you guys. Okay, you can make this thing go as far as you want, right? How far do you want it to be? How close do you want it to be? All things up to you. And again, you can always get back in there and make it disappear or make it less noticeable by swiping at it and mixing it, right? The more that we mix it, the less noticeable it becomes. Right? And this is why you got to keep that dark separator, because it becomes a pain to go back and have to put it in there. Oh man. Okay, are you guys ready? Just quite seriously, because we need to mix up a lot more of our black, crimson, and blue. And then we're going to be making enormous trees, okay? And then launching just a ton of bark onto those guys. So we're going to mix our crimson, black, and blue, making our Paint with Josh plaque mix that we call it. I didn't come up with the title, okay? It was the viewers that came up with the title. And it's just a purplish black, and then we're going to add brown to make what? What would you think that color is called now, right? Like if we had purplish black, and then we added brown to it, what would you think we would call that color? Right? Anybody out there pay attention? Anyone in the world pay attention? I have a question. Can you mix the liquid white with the other colors or not? Yes, I absolutely could. It's mostly made for the base of the canvas, but just as well, if I wanted a really runny, wet yellow or crimson, I can mix either the paint thinner in with those and keep them those rich values, or mix the liquid white in with them, making them more wet and more bright, like a different. So if I mix the white with this guy, it's going to turn a very bright pink, right? Same with this, going to be a very bright yellow if I add a bunch of white to it. So it depends. We call this color brack, you guys. Purple, that's close, right? You take away the purple bit and you go brown black, and we call it brack around here. Now, woo, I'm telling you, we don't even want to put in a front water line on this one because it just adds more white paint onto the canvas. And in reality, I mean, seriously, if you did, you'd do like the smallest bit, right? Like maybe, I don't even want to touch it too much. Just the teeniest, tiniest little thing. Let it float out there, right? Because it's just a very, very, very small amount of fish pish, we call it. Just those little bubbles that hang out there, right? We can always shrink this separation down too. You think it's too big. If it's too big in between the water and the land, right, it's going to look too close to us. And so you're going to shrink it down, pop in a couple little bits of white, little things, little here and there. Remembering not everything is supposed to be exactly the same. So before we go launching in this massive bit of tree that we're about to do, and I just noticed we forgot to put our highlights on that rock. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll launch everything into this paint. It's going to be gorgeous. So we'll see you again right here after these. Holy cow, did you see with all of our new setup and all of our new equipment that we can actually see I'm talking about all of your comments. So not a single comment will get missed. Nothing gets lost. I can see them on the television. And London right back here is checking everything out on the computer. So comment, comment, comment. It helps much more than you might think and helps boost engagement and gets us out to more people. So let's get back to the show and see what we got going on up there. See what we got going on up there. Okay, so we've got our brack mix, very dark, blackish, brownish paint. And, oh, guys, I'm telling you, let's go vertical on this first guy. We just want to have a little tree out here. And by little, I mean enormous. Now, trust me on this, okay? If you don't make them big, they look weird, okay? The bigger that you make them, the more realistic it's going to look. And we're going to plop down that first little guy, small little angle, right? They don't need to be at this extreme angle. Now, we do need this one to be about twice as big, right? So we're using the whole brush. We're leaving a little bit of space in between so we can allow it to fatten out, right? Covering literally everything behind it. We don't need to see anything back there, right? And it looks a little funky with this one being thin at the top and thick at the bottom, and this one being thick at the top and thin at the bottom, right? And that's supposed to be that way. So we're going to come down here and let it get fatter. And just fatten it out. This guy too. Get a little closer. There we go. There. See what I mean? And then you're deciding how close you let these little friends get out here, right? What their angle is like, how big they are, how much it takes of your canvas, right? Oh, that is so cool. I like that. Now, the bravery test, okay? I've done 3 different scenes like this on, well, 2 different scenes on blue canvas. White canvas, well, blue sky. White canvas top, black canvas bottom with a blue sky, and we launched in the tree on this side, and it was amazing. And we're going to do it on this one too. So don't unfollow me when we just unload. First, I got to make sure this guy is finished. I get a little ahead of myself. And before we do that next one, I got to put just a couple little highlights on our friend in the distance back there. There we go. Boom, boom. Remember, you don't have to keep them, equally spread apart. They could both widen out and get real sharp. They could both, they could be overlapping. It's all dependent on you, right? All up to you, my friend. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow ochre or raw sienna color. If it's like some raw sienna, I think is too brown, but this one from the Master's Touch brand was very yellow ochre-y, and so I just use it as my yellow ochre. Man, right there, gorgeous. Remember, we don't need it to be too. Actually, that's too bright. That needs to come down a touch. We're going to mix our plaque into that once, or brack into it, and one more time. There we go. Just to get a little darker, okay? Because I want all the bark to be like gold on these branches. And in fact, we may end up using a gold paint by Master's Touch, right? So I'm going to put a little purple up here, a little brown up here, and then I'm going to scrape it in, kind of feeding it back into that misty area, right? That's why we put the mist there, so that this wasn't just an automatic like break where we had this brown into nothing, right? You have to have that kind of mist, and it's helping transition everything, right? It's going, okay, I'm going to take the viewer's eye from the water over here up into this rocky thing, and then into where we can't see at the base of these trees. And that is mysteriousness, right? That's what's going to sell your paintings, you guys. I'm telling you. By the way, this one is available. You can go grab it. All you have to do is go over to my site, PaintWithJosh.com, or the PaintWithJosh app. Did you know we have an app now? Literally, I'm surprised as well. London put so much effort into getting this app, getting it working, literally writing code and making things work. It wasn't like a template where, you could just select, oh, I will just want it to look like this. Like London had to literally make everything. So I hope you guys all appreciate it, right? Now remember, I don't want to put thick paint and chunkiness if I'm going to just put a big tree right here, right? That's why we kind of left this opening on our side. That's why we don't care about what our water looks like. That's why we want it to be very far away and distant, right? So if we wiggle down, we get this last bit. Ooh, here it comes. Oh man, I don't want to hit the front of the rock, and I know it has to be right there. We have to leave enough room on the right side, right? So that you can put off a little branch or something. There, we'll just make it look there. We'll just leave it like that. It'll make it look like it's coming out of the ocean, right? Yes. Of course, we can't leave it like that, you guys. We've got to bring it down through all of that brightness, all the way down here. And then again, let it get fatter and fatter and fatter as it comes down. The bigger these things are down here, I'm serious, the closer it makes them look, right? The more it helps our scene get pushed into the distance because of how big these trees are, right? That is amazing right there. Drag it down. Very cool. Should be very dark. Right? Oh, it sure is. Look at this, guys. Now, we're going to put some bushes in the bottom of this one just to seal it in. But, my word. Charger? Oh, I got it right here. I was stealing the... I had to get some charge on my phone. There we go. Oh, you don't need the plug. You just need the cord. Got it. There we go. Cord. I got it. Get this side. There we go. Boom. No worries. Okay, so we've got the darkness of our trees, right? All the way down to the bottom. We're going to be putting something down here in this size of my fist or something. Hey, maybe just at the base, maybe we leave a little bit of space. Who knows? It's all dependent on you, right? But my pile, although it is still a large enough pile to use, has been flattened, right? And it's hard to get the paint into the bristles if it's already flat. So scoop it up into a little like Hershey's Kiss pile, run your paint down through there, making sure basically that it spreads the fingers apart, all those bristles, and sticks them full of paint. That's what you want. That way it will hold it together. Right? And this is like basically an acrylic brush, and it's being held together by the amount of paint that is in there. Now, I do not necessarily want to come and hit my moon, even though it's right in the perfect place to be covered over by a branch, literally. So we're going to have to come up a little higher. Now we're going to make, again, a little smiley face, just tapping the brush into it like that, right? We have to go off the top a couple times just to be weird. I don't want it to be like a flat line up there, you know what I mean? And then just the same, with just the same amount of paint off the bottom, pop off a couple little guys like that. Just get a little more thin, right? Oh, man. Now, we could, I mean, you almost have to. You got to fill up the top area just a little bit. That area we don't really care too much about. It's just to have that texture on there, right? Honestly, don't even need to go in between the two trees because it's so dark, but just in case, just because, right? You want to pop out or at least cover or make it difficult to see what's back there, pretty much, right? If you want your tree to be in front of the bushes or the branches, you just drag your tree trunk down, right? And that way it pushes the branch section to the front, right? So if you imagine, we got the back of my hand is where you're looking at on this trunk, but on the front of my hand, it's got branches that are growing out away from us, right? So all these little branchy bits are on the front side of that tree. Now we'll wiggle down again. This one we can come much lower, right? But the first guy, we got to come out here and almost connect. And bing, bang, boom, pop off a couple of things. Remember, don't worry about too much of it if you can't see it at the top too much. Let's see, is the brush cleaner toxic? Or is there a brush cleaner for oils that the fumes won't harm cats to smell? Let's see. I live in an apartment and I wouldn't want to harm my cats in any way using oil brush cleaner. Okay, so there are many different kinds of brush cleaner that will get your oil brushes clean, right? And they work in like different like powers. You know what I mean? So like brush, if you went to Home Depot and you got something called brush cleaner, I wouldn't even use it in the middle of an open field because it stinks so bad. Even in the middle of anywhere, in the middle of space, I wouldn't open it because it stinks so bad, right? Paint thinner is next on the smelly list down. I use odorless mineral spirits, right? That stuff, you can still smell it. You can notice it a little bit, right? And I mean, nothing is completely odorless. And then there are more safer options you can go with too, I think there's like a citrus cleaner that works. I've never tried it before, but I know there is like a citrus thing. And I heard you can use baby oil, oddly enough, to strip the paint out of the brushes, right? So I haven't used those. I have used paint thinner and brush cleaner and a brush cleaner from like a hardware store, not like from an art store. That's very different, I assume. I know there's all sorts of different cleaners, like a Mona Lisa type brand from Michael's. I've seen that jar. They're very small and very expensive for what they are. When I can go get a gallon of this stuff, right? This is all I use, odorless mineral spirits. I used to paint in my house. I had a painting room, right? And then when we moved up to Eugene, I painted in the living room of my apartment or my dining room area. Did the shows from there. So if you scroll back far enough and you'll notice I had these panels behind my thing eventually, but initially it was just a black curtain, and it was a black curtain when I was in my old house. So if you ever see a black curtain behind my easel, then you know that's an old video. There. But I use that stuff in the apartment, and you put the lid on everything, seal everything up when it's done. I don't just ever leave it so it just, you know, can emit out into the room. I don't like that. But yeah, I would try, I mean, I've heard of that citrus cleaner. I think Bram used that or talked about it one time. So I haven't tried it, but there are other things. I would Google, honestly, what works best or what's pet friendly, because these chemicals, you know what I mean? If as like you say, toxic. If you drink it, right? You don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do that. So yes, in that instance, right, that would be a call to poison control for sure. And many hospital visits, I would assume, if you were to drink this stuff. Don't do that, by the way. It's a bad idea. Very cool. Look at these branches, you guys. But yeah, I would maybe try that citrus cleaner. That would probably be my bet. I mean, especially if your cats are like nosy and they're going to come up and try to sniff your cups on the table or knock something over, you know what I mean, like cats do. I would try to go for something less harsh for sure. But I've not tried it, so I have nothing to guide you towards, you know what I mean. And beyond that, while I've got this sharp brush, I'm going to launch out just a couple little, just broken branch bits, right? Maybe they connect, maybe they pop out, maybe they never grew, or they did grow at some point and then they broke off. But just even those oddities out of that straight, beautiful trunk is going to make it look fantastic, right? So this one, let's pop out. Hey, maybe he's as long, maybe he's not as long. Maybe he's got lots of branches, maybe he's got fewer, right? They don't all look the same. So we get to choose what it looks like when we go do these paintings, right? That's the fun part about it. Now remember, this is how I earn a living. I can't survive if we don't sell any paintings. So if you guys are in the market or checking them out, head over to the website or the PaintWithJosh app, and you'll be able to find many, many originals along with prints and different things. Let's pop out another little guy over here just to have something, you know what I mean? Something a little lower, a little bit broken. Maybe it doesn't go all the way around. Maybe it doesn't go through. Maybe it's on the front side. You never know, right? Totally up to us every time we do it. God, that looks so great. Woo! Okay, so remember, if you do grab this painting, because it is available during the live show, then you get to spin the spinny winny wheel and get a free gift. That's everyone's favorite part. And you activate the light party. And the light party is really going to look amazing on this painting if we could get it to find a new home. Right? That's the main goal, is finding it a new home. So if we don't do that, then Josh can't go get more supplies and bring you guys more free videos, right? It's like a give and take. I give you guys a bunch of free videos and live shows every week, and you guys buy the paintings. That's the trade-off, right? So beyond that, start coming up with an idea for what we're going to call this one, and we'll take a quick commercial break while I wash off the rest of these brushies, and we'll be right back after these words. Hey guys, it's PaintWithJosh back in the studio with you today, taking a break from editing to talk about our Glitterwix candles. Absolutely fantastic, super unique jars, more than 65 different scents that you can find if you head over to their site. Check it out, get your favorite, let us know which one you got when you come back, and let's pop over to the show and see what we've been missing while we've been gone. While we've been gone. All right, so get the old beat the Oshkosh bajosh out of the brushes, what I like to say. Now, I'll wash off this last fan brush, and then we're going to make up a bunch of plaque again. We're going to throw in our at least 1 to 2 bushes down around the bottom, and that way we'll kind of seal it in, make it look like we're walking out of the forest and onto the beach. Man, our own little private little cove. Whoo! Okay. So let's grab the old palette tool, get our plaque mix going. So we'll get our black, our crimson, our blue paint, mix it up down here. And like I said, we don't need too much. Of course, when you're doing bushes, you do need a lot of paint, right? You need the globs, the fingers that are trying to come off of it, right? You have to have that stuff. If you don't have that, it doesn't look close. It looks very distant and far away, right? So we're going to plunge into the entire pile, getting it up here onto the brush. Dropping down little things. Remember, we don't have to see the bottom of them. They're just down there, right? We're kind of looking up through these trees out at the moonlight. By the way, everyone, again, answer my question. Do you think this is a sun or a moon? Right? What do you think? You tell me. I'm just asking you. You don't have, there's no right or wrong, right? Just answer. Because some of you answered sun before. Would you now consider it a moon, or are you stuck on your sun guess, right? Like this, again, no wrong answer. Just let me know what you think. And if you want to grab this painting, you can either get it through the Paint with Josh app or paintwithjosh.com. It's right there on the very front. You don't even have to go anywhere to see it. There we go. We're going to wash off all that deep darkness. All right, get all that junk off of the brush. And then when it comes time to highlight these little guys, it's going to be gorgeous. Remember, there's lots of goopiness on here, right? Same for our tree branches up here. Lots of goopy paint. And so when we come back with our highlights, we don't want to cover or smush too hard or too many times in a row on all of that thick paint. And we're going to break out this Master's Touch Gold. It's literally got gold specks. It literally looks like gold coming out of the tube. Now, it's very thick color. Okay, so we're going to try and see what it looks like. We may be using it more for our trunk of our tree. I mean, can you imagine when we throw in this gold? Watch this, as the gold is like, oh God, just catching light on this tree. Look at that. It is a golden, barky, sunshining madness moonlight, or whatever we're calling this one. Right? Again, the more we tap, the more it'll mix away with that darkness and get darker again towards the back. We're going to do this throughout the entire tree, right? But having a little bit of gold in there. It's got literal gold specks in it, right? So if we tap in and leave enough paint on there, right? Tell me that doesn't look like tree bark right there. Woo! Oh, 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 oh. Right? And we're going to be doing it on different sides of the trees because the light source anyway is hitting this side of this tree and it's hitting this side of this tree. So on vice versa sides over here, you'd have little bits of brightness catching on this little friend. And remember, we're just tapping at the canvas, right? Tapping at it and moving away because the paint tries to make it, like it tries to stick together. So when you smush it against the canvas and pull it away, some of it gets stuck to the canvas, some of it gets stuck to the blade, and it leaves this like ribbon in between, right? Almost like if you were to stretch gum out, but this one doesn't stretch as far, right? So totally up to you. If you don't have the gold paint, right, you can also catch that same light with the raw sienna or the yellow ochre, right? Now, tell me in between those two that you can even tell a difference, right? Especially if I came back heavier, if I wanted it brighter to match the same color or whatever. So if you don't have the gold, you don't need it, okay? You can use your yellow ochre or your raw sienna and leave little spaces and little gaps in between, right? You can't tell me where that gold hit on that guy, right? Depends. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, that's literally just the yellow ochre over the dark brack mix, or vice versa, the gold, like on this side, over that dark brack, right? So see how heavy? The gold is so heavy that it's trying to drop off like little icicles instead of a ribbon, right? So I have to push harder in order for it to attach to the tree and then come off. You know what I mean? Very cool. You have to know those things when you're doing your painting and you're going, okay, like I'm touching at it, and it's not doing what I want it to do. We need to figure it out really quick. Right? But otherwise, we're going to just keep plopping on enormous amounts of paint. And remember to leave some ridges in between. You got to make the noises too. It doesn't work. And that guy's on a slightly different angle, right? So not all of those are going straight down. Some of them are coming off to here. Some of them are going down to here, right? Changing their angle to make this tree look like it's kind of leaning a little bit more, or we're looking more up its trunk, right? Remember, we can't have the bright go all the way around, and it needs to be brighter on the front than on the back, right? So if you are tapping at it enough times that it's making the paint dark around the front, remember, you have to go back in and make sure that that brightness is the first thing we see, and then it starts getting a little darker and a little darker and a little darker as we go, right? Completely up to you guys, honestly. What do you want yours to look like? How close do you get to your edge, right? Because if you get too close to that edge. I'm telling you now, you're not going to like it. You need to get a little bit more of that lighter kind of brown color that we were using for our rocks back here. Well, I guess a darker brown color. There. That same rocky color is going to go along the back side or the back half of our trunks as we tap it in and tap it in and tap it in. We just took the commercial, right? Okay. I was looking at the clock like, did I do that? Okay, perfect. Perfection. Oh my God, this one looks like it's coming off the front, doesn't it? Coming out towards us. Oh! Door unlocked, you guys. Seriously, someone just asked me that the other day. How do you paint one to where it looks like it's coming out towards me? And I'm like, well, that's not, I know in theory what we should do in order to make it look like that, but have I ever done that? No. So, I don't know if you can see, okay? It is a very dark little tree branch as of right now, but it looks like, because it's almost like a dark circle right here, and then we got our branch coming out literally horizontal to the side, but because it's in the center, it's emitting from the center of the tree, right? We can see the back of the tree, but we cannot see the front side, right? That means that it is there, it's right on that edge between light and dark of our tree trunk, projecting towards us, right? If I were to cover this part and just have the, with all the bark, then that tree branch would look like it's pointing out towards the moon or sun or whatever you called it, right? But goodness gracious, you guys, this one is coming out absolutely fantabulous. Oh, I thought that was one of you guys buying the painting right now. Did you know you could buy this one? Right here. You could be the hero of tonight, right? We went in the first show. We didn't sell any painting. Oh, but I guess right before I did sell like a $60 painting. So, I need a fair amount of those if we're going to pay rent by the end of the month. But if you want to grab this painting live during the show, it is available, right? You can grab it and tell me what to name it, right? Once you purchase the painting, it becomes yours. Doesn't give you the right to tell me what to put in it, right? Sometimes we can accommodate requests and stuff, but sometimes no. You know what I mean? It just either won't work or I feel like it'll mess it up or whatever. But God, it's fat. Like they're little gold veins running up the tree, you guys. Oh, little bits of gold vein. Oh my God, I love it. I love this gold. So the problem with the gold though, right? You can't add the liquid white. It won't take it. Like it makes it no longer becomes gold when you add white to it, right? So how do you make it thinner? You would have to get, your odorless mineral spirits or linseed oil, maybe some other kind of thinning agent in order to make it less thick. I can do it because I've done it a million times and I know how the paint can react and move and attach itself, right? So even so, if I wanted to put gold right on the front and I scrape away the paint that I've already put there, right? And I come over here, now it's got a fresh surface of just canvas and it should attach that gold a little bit nicer, right? A little bit heavier, a little bit brighter in that spot because I'm not trying to attach the gold over a whole bunch of other color, right? That, like Bob always told us, a thin paint was going to stick to a thick paint, right? If you just keep going thick on thick on thick on thick on thick, it just doesn't work anymore. Eventually you can't put any more paint on the top. It just won't attach itself, right? So thinning it down or working in a way that you can continue to add it, right? We're not adding on enormous clumps of paint. This is that yellow ochre color. We're not, popping on giant thing. We're using a very small roll of paint and we're trying to make it last for a good long while. You know what I mean? Now look at that. Doesn't that not make sense right there? I was like, oh, it should be brighter at the top of that trunk. But if you really think about it, look at where this tree trunk or this branch is. And this branch, they're going to be, giving shadows to that area. So it will be darker. So if we take some of that plaque mix and just kind of tap over that area, right? You're still there. You still have that texture, but you can shadow it, right? Dude, that is so cool. I love that gold paint so much. Just attach, drop on with it. Oh, amazing. Seriously. Okay, so you guys are going to come up with a title. I'm going to put a little, ooh, there, just that little bit, right? one thing and then one little tiny bit above the branch itself. Oh, goodness. Call the fire department. I'm about to just, just pass because this one is too gorgeous. Too stinking gorgeous. Bang, right there. Oh, man. Right. And again, I get to decide what it looks like, how bright we make it, this, that, and the other. Then we're going to be taking our color, our yellow ochre color, popping a little bit down. We're talking about the smallest bit of our liquid white in there. And then that is going to allow us to stick to our bushes at the bottom, right? So by leaving little ridges, little bright areas, little empty spaces, little sections of stuff, right? And not overdoing it, because sometimes you get in there and you put in a whole bunch of brightness and then you look at it and you go, yeah, I liked it better the other way, right? These things happen all the time. Now, let's grab our fan brush and a smaller fan brush. I always tend to go with a smaller one than the brush that I made the shape with, right? Because if I'm guaranteed I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to push too hard. I'm going to, you know, make too big of a mark or a thing or whatever. I know that already. I get a little bit of my green and my yellow ochre mixed in, just the smallest amount of green, little twinge, little bit, little thing right there, right? So if I'm using a smaller brush, then that little, or, you know, that mistake is going to be a smaller mistake. It won't be so catastrophic because I didn't use that same size brush that I used to make the shape. Like, think about it. If I had the same brush and I push too hard, it's going to cover every bit of black blackish color that's out there, right? I don't want that to happen. If I cover all of that stuff, then I've got a flat, branchy thing, right? We don't want that. We want to have nice depth to all of our stuff, right? So we want to use a smaller brush so that those mistakes that we're bound to make, you know what I mean? We're humans. I'm not a robot. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about some of you guys are kind of robotic. But I know that I'm gonna tap it too hard. I'm gonna drop on too much paint. I'm gonna do something I shouldn't do. You know what I mean? But if I do it with a smaller brush than what I made the shape with, then I should make a smaller mistake, right? There we go. That's cool, dude. I like this one. Again, just tapping on the smallest indication of brightness or kind of yellowish greeny color, just to give it, just to make it not black, right? I don't want it to be supremely bright green and standing out for all to see. We want it to almost be invisible, you know what I mean? And we want our viewer to have to look at the whole painting before they even notice that these things have branches, right? Of course, they're going to see them pretty close, pretty right away, because everybody always looks at the moon or the sun or whatever that circle is out there first, right? That's everyone's first kind of viewpoint. So again, up to you what you decide to do with your little guys, right? And if you tend to put on too much green, get back in there with that black and darken them up a little bit, especially on the bottoms, right? And not black, but our plaque mix, you know what I mean? That dark tree shadowy mix that we use. Oh, fabulous. Even off this little dude, if you wanted like one little poof, like something that's not a branch or not a full thing, right? It exists. Some little bit out there, right? One little thing worth one little touch of a bit of green, you know, like seriously, what do you feel like today? Because that is what you get to do every time that you go paint, right? Very, very cool, you guys. Okay, let's take that big old bushy brush. We're going to get down into the liquid white over here, plunge it into the old guy. And you guys are going to have to come up with a title, right, as we go into our mersh break. So let me do these little things, right? You guys will come up with a title. We're going to tap on just, oh, God, look at that brightness. Holy cow, dude. Right, maybe back there. But again, leave the dark area in the background until at least your brush has gotten so much of this dark mix onto it that it no longer is so bright, right? And then we can very lightly tap back here with the same brush, having the same texture, having the same bush, just being darker, right? Not catching so much brightness. God, that looks so cool. That is so cool. So we'll take a quick little commercial break, and then you guys are going to come back with a title and let us know what you think about this one right after these words. Hi, it's Paint with Josh back in the studio. Did you know that along with oil painting classes, we also now do acrylic painting classes? Oh, it's going to be fantastic. You can either come right down here into the studio and I supply all the supplies. You leave with a really cool painting, or we can link up via virtual class and do a video called like Zoom. It's going to be fantastic and you're going to end up with something like this. All you have to do to book one of these Paint with Josh acrylic classes is either go to the Paint with Josh app or go to the site, find the acrylic class, book your day and your time, and we're going to have a great time. Now, let's get back up to the show and see what we've been doing up there. Let's see what we've been doing. Does that make you guys laugh? Because the more I hear it, the more I'm like, ugh, I'm such a goober. Like, why? Why did I think that was funny initially? I don't know. Maybe I'm doing it all as a ruse. Okay, let's wash off this last brush. You guys come up with a title for this one. And let me know what you think it should be called in the comments below. This is the time that you're going to want to grab it if you want to pick the title. Otherwise, someone else may end up grabbing it, and then they will choose a title that might not have been the one you wanted to go with, right? Now, if it ends up getting purchased, and that person wants to pick a title, they're going to need a lot of titles to choose from, right? So launch them into the comments. How many titles can you come up with, right? And if the painting doesn't find a new home, which would absolutely, I mean, I might just take this one home and put it in my house, but would absolutely break my heart if someone didn't walk away with this one today. But that's fine, right? I still need to choose a title. So hit me with your titles. What do you think this one might be called if you had painted it, right? And you were like, oh, I just painted the best thing in existence, the best thing known to mankind, right? It needs a name, so what are you going to call that thing? That best thing that you ever did. You're the last of the gold paint. Treat that gold paint like gold. We barely use it, and we barely use any of it. Because once it's gone, it'll be gone. And I know when I go to the store, they won't have it. Right? So, ooh, look at how cool, how pretty it looks on the palette when you like smear it around a little bit. That's cool. Cool. That's a really cool color. Seriously. There's only been one other gold color that I've ever used, and that was from a brand called, oh, you remember that brand? Magic Fly. Yeah, Magic Fly. Right? Those paints I used when I was young in my career, I guess. I found them to be awesome for highlights and stuff because they're already really wet. You know what I mean? But as far as painting a whole painting with those Magic Fly paints, I found it difficult to do because they're not as thick as these guys are. You know what I mean? But as far as highlights, wicked cool colors. And there was like a 48-piece kit or something like that. All different kinds. Silver, gold, and they were tiny tubes. And I went through that gold so fast. And I think we got a whole nother 40-piece kit just to get the gold. Honestly, so. Like the U.S. Olympic team, chasing gold. Okay, so you guys, hit me with the titles. I am finished cleaning up. We do need to put the bird fam in somewhere. Let's go. We can stick it there. It's almost too close to the moon, but, you know, the other place would be there or here, and then you can't see it. So they got to go right in this cloud or right in the God, look at the trees. You guys. Nobody wants this one. That breaks my, like, it hurts my feelings. I don't think I can come back ever. Like, this one is absolutely fantastic, honestly. Honestly. I mean, there is an active cart, and it does say that they're checking out, but as far as right now, it remains unsold, unfulfilled. And tomorrow's just another day. I've been watching too much South Park, you guys. Somebody came and took the smile right off of me. Let's get in here. We got to make them small, right? And just go, caw-caw. Small little bird family. There. Fit in that little spot. And the smaller they are, the further away they look, which makes sense why these trees are so big, right? So, fan-schmastic, everybody. Remember, let's come up with a title as a group. If this one gets grabbed, then that person might need your help in coming up with a title. If not, then I'm going to need your help coming up with a title. So type it in now. What would you think this one would be called? Now remember, we're doing a redo, basically, or an upgrade of Golden Shores. right? So can't call it Golden Shores. Anything besides that, let me know in the comments right now. Debbie says, oh, I want it, but I can't get it. I feel you, Debbie. Golden Moon. Let's see, Shadow Bay. Like that. Eclipse, that's a cool title. Let's see, Ember Moon. I dig that one too. Burning Twilight. Wicked. Bad Moon Horizon. I like that old song. Who was that? Creedence Clearwater Revival. Guaranteed, bro. Don't even need to Google it. Ember Moon is cool. I do like that one. Could go something like in the golden theme, just not Golden Shores. Golden Trunks. Veins of Gold. I don't know. View from Gold Ridge. Like, do I have to come up with the title, you guys? Shimmering Pine. I like that. Golden Tide. There you go. That's a leading contender right there. Right? It's not the shores. We're talking about the tide this time. Completely different. Let's see. Let's see. Burning Pines is cool. I like that. Valhalla Calling. That's a cool title too. I like that one. Druid's Cove. Ooh, that would be like English, right? Like that's where the Druid and like Wales, that, you know, the island over there. That'd be cool. So that would be cool. What's that say on the bottom? Heavenly Ocean, maybe? Is it a spelling error? OC? Heavenly OC? Maybe it's probably a spelling error. Howler's Moon. I like that. Hunter's Moon would be cool too. Let's see. Dude, I like this one too much. Golden Pines, that's a cool one. I think we've seen that on the other platforms too. So let me just double check before I go ahead and pick a title that this one still belongs to me and that no one has purchased it so far. Right? As far as I am aware, I will be choosing the title. Remember, it is available. You can grab it. It looks like there was somebody over there trying to get it. Maybe they're still trying to get it. But you're about to miss out on that perk of naming the painting because I'm about to name it for you. Right? So let's close that guy just in case it goes off. I love hearing the noise. So hit me with your titles one more time, right? Your best ones right now. And then I'm going to pick Sandy Pines is cool. Twilight Dream. Let's see. Gilded Moon. I like that. Oh, boom. Came out so stinking fantastic, you guys. I like it. Dude. Light. Like hitting the clouds, hitting the bark, hitting the... Oh. It's too good. I can't give it to anybody. I'm going to take it out of the store. It's mine. Golden Sands. Golden Evergreens. That's nice. I like that. I think Golden Tide, though. That one was my first one that actually caught my attention, right? Golden Tides. Okay, let's name it Golden Tides. That's a really, I mean, absolutely spot-on title for this painting. So we're going to call it Golden Tides, everybody. And then I'm going to thank you and tell you that I can't wait to see your version of this painting, right? All you need is a black canvas. You can get your about 7 or 8 colors that we used and maybe 10 colors that we used. And it's going to come out fantastic, honestly. If you do what I did up here, right, on your canvas with the same stuff, the same base, 2317, yeah? What? 317, yeah? Okay. And then, so that means, I just put a dollar sign. Number, there we go. That means that tomorrow's shows will be 2318 and then the Monsters Inc. show, which will be really cool, in 2319. So, sweet. Okay, so we're calling this one what again? Golden Tide? Golden Tide. Boom, boom. I like that. It's a really cool title. So, painted on March 5th of 2020 million. And we're all going to go to PaintWithJosh.com or check out the Google App Store or the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and find the Paint with Josh app, right? And you can get all sorts of stuff through the app. You can book classes, you can check out the painting, plus it notifies you when we go live. That's the biggest perk of the app, right? Have you ever been watching, or maybe you haven't been watching, and then you wonder, like, when did Josh start? Like, I got no notification that he was painting live. I didn't see it until he was already done. This, that, and the other. There's a big old chunk of paint on there. No, it's on the floor. Perfect. And so the main advantage of having the Paint with Josh app is that you will be notified right when we go live every time. So you can drop what you're doing and tune in to see what we've been painting, right? So I honestly can't wait to come. I can't wait. I was going to say to come up with another painting. I can't wait to see what you come up with when you do this scene. Don't be afraid of these big trees, right? We're painting them in there for a reason, so we can get better at painting big stuff and covering our sky and working on where we're putting our focal point, right? We don't want to paint this whole big rock all the way across the canvas and then have to come down on top of all that heavy paint, right? So we're working on placement, on size of stuff, how big it is. Remember, it was only 3/4 of an inch right here, down to, a millimeter as we got way over here. And no matter how far we came across this way, we're going to cover those lines anyway, so don't worry about them, right? Beyond that, I'm going to throw in the old JK, and then we're going to get up on out of here. So remember to send in your versions of this painting to my Facebook page, or post them into any of the comments where you're able to, right? I think on YouTube you can't post pictures in the comments and stuff, but I think they allow that now on TikTok. And then on Facebook and on Instagram, you can send me pictures of your paintings that you have finished off of tutorials that you've done. Right? I'm going to take a little bit of my liquid white, just toss in a couple little shticks, just a few little bits, just literal tiniest, smallest amount of pressure possible, right? Just very lightly dragging up a couple little sticks and twigs, holding those little guys up. Remember, we don't see the bottom of those bushes. They've been cut off by our telescopic lens of our camera, right? We were peering through, checking out the moon, which I think it's a moon. I don't know about you guys. And so we don't see the base. We don't have to pull any paint out and make it smooth or anything. We're looking at the tops of these and the bottoms of these branches up here. So beyond that, came out absolutely stellar. I need to get one more little bit of yellow. This is your literal last chance if you wanted to grab this painting. Right, was that it right there? Oh, I was hoping that would have been it. That would have been perfect timing, right? A little bit of our yellow ochre just on top of some of these guys. Again, doesn't even have to cover the whole thing. That one's too small. This guy, it doesn't have to go out all the way. And if you put on too much highlight, you're going to lose the roundness of the branch, right? So beyond that, you guys have been fantastic. I love you all. I can't wait to come back. We'll do it again tomorrow for Friday Night Freestyle. And until we see you guys again next time, take care. Rest of a good day. And well, that one came out amazing. I want to thank you guys for being here, liking, subscribing, tapping the screen, commenting, and interacting with me. It's all been fantastic. In the meantime, before we get to our next painting, be sure you check out PaintWithJosh.com because there's always something else to look at over there. So until I see you guys again next time, take care.